Welcome back, everybody, to Visited by Voices and week 2 of our Readers Roundtable for Divide by Zero. I almost put that in the past tense like an asshole. I'm your host, Sam Carlson, a moderator not in moderation. And we have a slightly bigger panel this week, which I'm very excited for. First, we have this way. Dan Shine from Flesh Wound Features. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Sam. How's it going?
It is going. Right below him, we have Mike, the real Fifth Beatle. Thank you for joining us as always, Mike. We appreciate it.
No problem. Looking forward to it.
And we also have a newcomer. We have Jeff, the intern. What's up, Jeff?
Hello. Good to be here.
Wow, thanks for showing up. Some of you guys might remember Jeff from when we had the Horror YouTuber of the Month video. So now he's back. And you actually have a lot of really cool insight to share on this section of the book, which will be covering pages 64 through 120, right? Because you were reading it as it was being written.
Yeah. Lorna and I were in the same writing group at the time.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. All right. So we'll just go ahead and dig right in. After the Hayden's Court job, that was kind of a big chunk, right? It didn't feel like it was overwhelming, but I like how this section has slightly shorter chapters, and we get kind of a breather from all of the action to kind of get to know everybody more. So, we see that when they're at the bar, chapter 1 of this section, Intermezzo, and they're kind of just chillaxing, and Kelsey Beth and Fisher have this game that they play, right? Where it's like, I don't think they're trying to get phone numbers. But I guess it's sort of like whoever can sleep with a rando at the bar. I can't tell if it's like the winner gets to pay the check, right? Because it's like, hey, we all just got paid. Let me pay. Let me treat you all. Or if it's like the loser has to pay the check.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So, but I have a question. So, because Fisher's just trying to close the deal with this blonde gal. But Kelsey Beth goes after a married couple. So it's like, okay, even if they weren't married though, but if you're already getting 2, should Fisher even continue trying? Does it matter at that point?
Does he have to pay for 2 meals after that?
Well, 3. No, I mean, I wonder. I wonder if it's if Fisher. Okay, let's just say if Fisher won anyway, right? If Kelsey Beth, if Fisher wins first, but then Kelsey Beth also wins, wouldn't she just automatically be the winner because she's bagged 2 people instead of 1?
That's true. That's true. I'd give her the win.
Probably. And we actually have a little thing. It looks like it's implied that Wells doesn't play this game because he's not straight, so it's not the right establishment for him. And that makes me feel really good about casting Patrick Warburton as Wells, because I could definitely see him as a bear. 100%. Big bear energy.
That's interesting casting. I think I have some casting for characters, but I don't think I ever would have Patrick Warburton, the Seinfeld guy.
I was just thinking that, I mostly remember him from The Tick, but then
okay,
I don't know.
That was ahead of its time. I can see that. I was thinking Naveen Andrews, for anybody who remembers him, as Neil, which is not how I was saying it in my head, but that's gonna take some getting used to. Neil, Naveen Andrews is who I've got as Neil.
Yeah, and Neil, we actually will. I could definitely see that. I just googled Naveen Andrews. Definitely.
Is that the guy from? Was that the guy in Lost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we actually meet Neil in this next section as well, since a lot of these chapters focus on the next job and Kelsey Beth having to recruit people for it. And Neil is the first one that she comes across, and okay, I'm actually just trying to see if there's a picture of his biceps. I have a reason for this, I swear. Because there is a line where Raleigh, she's talking about how her skirt could maybe fit over one of his biceps. So I'm like, dude sounds buff. And also, yes, I think we should all talk about the fact that I think most of us were all saying it wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
Neil.
it's spelled
Yeah.
it's spelled Nihaal. So I just thought Nihal, but no,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think because we've got a guy in the UK who's like a radio DJ, and I think his is virtually he's like an Indian guy, but I think this is just Nihal, and he's called Nihal. So I've automatically just gone with that, but I'll continue to say that in my head because it's when you start reading, you automatically just slip into what comes naturally. But yeah, Neil, I didn't see that.
yeah, it's funny because like my dad's name is Neil, but it's like now I'm just tempted to write his name
Just
the
call
wrong.
him Nahal from now
Yeah,
on.
I
call
know,
him Neil.
right?
When I was the first time I read it, that I hadn't made the same mistake. I was talking to Lauren about it, and he's like, "No, that's not right."
Yep. Well, inevitably, we were all going to mangle names. So speaking of which, we also have we're introduced to Kelsey Bell's secretary / personal assistant Chidima really early on in this section. I believe it's at the around chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, she's the best. She's so snarky. I love it. And
Getting tattooed by her, I believe.
oh no, it's Kelsey Bell's getting tattooed by that dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, having her nipples turned into stars, I was immediately thinking Janet Jackson in the halftime show because the fucking Super Bowl is so ubiquitous that will never leave my mind. And I mean, I guess like I feel like I need to see the finished product, but I mean, I'm not going to Google that. Not right now, anyway. I'll do that later.
Maybe she lost that bet in the bar, and that was the punishment.
I don't think it's a punishment.
Yeah, I think she's in for it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
so actually, I want to go back to
didn't
the bar for a second. I think what's interesting about the game that they play is it kind of doubles down on Kelsey Beth's personality, right? And like what she seeks as a person is the impossible, right? It's very much a yes and. It kind of ties back to the Hayden's Court job, which only really gets interesting when it goes completely sideways. It gets totally fucked, and that's when she goes into overdrive and makes it work. I don't know. I like how the two situations feed off of each other. Like it's fun in the moment, but echoes well what happens with the Hayden's Court job, and I think in the job that she's taking in this section that we're reading, right? What's being kicked off for the rest of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with the Hayden's Court job, I never felt like she was ever there was any sort of like trepidation, right? Like this is her element that she normally performs in. She's always performing under pressure, right? So this is just what she does. So yeah, it makes sense why she would go after a married couple for sure. In this section, we do get to see a more vulnerable sides of her. You just, it's like they're not always readily apparent, but because she does have some anxiety with taking the perihelion job. I do have to okay, so I need to talk about Chidima though, because I love her so much, but I just have questions. Okay, so she was given to Kelsey Beth as payment, right, by a trafficker.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on, so Kelsey Beth had to swap out a forged affidavit, and she decided to take Chidima as payment. So I'm like, did Kelsey Beth know that she was like getting hired by a trafficker? And it's like she saw Chidima there and decided, I'm going to ask for her as payment instead of like, getting coin dropped maybe.
For redemption. Yeah, for dealing with the monster, for sure.
Yeah. But then, and she goes and rats out the trafficker after the fact to the investigator. So if she hadn't taken Chidima instead, was that her plan all along? Because it's like, I'm wondering where, like, where the moral compass lies sometimes.
I feel like she's more opportunistic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
Yeah.
the moment.
Yeah.
there's a line in the bar where she's talking to Green, and she talks about, and I don't know whether Lorne's watched the Fast and Furious films.
I'm gonna
Seems like he
say
has done.
no.
He's
By this
a
line.
rabid fan.
We've all seen the movies with the criminals and the fast cars. All that talk about family, that's not this, that's not real. And then she says, if you're about to use the word team, I'll beat you dead with a bar stool. So she clearly doesn't go in for that whole, Vin Diesel, we're all family, we're all one team. She doesn't go in for that at all. She sees it very much as a job.
Mhm.
And the people around her are a little more than accomplices. But you kind of feel if you dig underneath the surface, there is more to her than that.
Lauren's
She
got Vin
likes
right
to
there on the arm.
she likes to give off this sort of tough girl, and she's a tough girl, obviously. But she's quite protective of how she portrays herself to the outside world. But you get the feeling deep down there is something there.
Yeah,
There is honor amongst thieves.
Oh yeah, I mean, like we definitely do see that closeness with Chidima, and it's just sort of like it's prefaced with Kelsey Beth having trouble like finding a personal assistant / secretary because of the line of work. So I'm like, were you looking for someone in particular? So I'm sure that Kelsey Beth has more scruples than that. So but I do really like Chidima as a character, and I'm enjoying like she brings every section of the book to life that she's in. Like there's a part where Neil and then our other two recruits for this job are all meeting to discuss the perihelion job, and Raleigh asks, "Is there coffee?" And she goes, "Coffee's for closers." And like Chris loved this week's segment also because he felt like so much of it was written for him, and he obviously got the coffees for closers, and then there's a Rolodex reference, and then there's also the Chick Tracks reference, and so it's just a lot of this. He enjoyed it quite a bit.
There's also a guy who's over 6.5 feet tall as well. So,
well, yes, that too. So that could be part of it. Okay, and excuse me.
I'm curious to ask, was it always Wisconsin for the cult?
I think so, because... Oh, go ahead.
No, that might be one for Lauren. I was going to say, maybe you guys don't know, but...
Yeah, I don't remember it changing when I was reading drafts at all.
Okay.
But that's a good question.
Well, I know it started out as like Badger is Meadowlark's hometown, and then I think it's mentioned Fairfield, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
So during, after that whole the stroke out, he went and, he disappeared for a few years, and I'm like thinking, is this how Dianetics came about? Is this his Dianetics moment? And that's how we got, his own perihelion. I'm going to sound stupid. Is perihelion the name of the book that he wrote, or is it just the name of the cult? I'm having a brain fart right now.
I'm trying to remember.
That's a good question. I should know that.
It is the book, isn't it? I think.
I would imagine. Like we're all gonna go. It's an open notes test, guys. It's fine.
Lauren's there anyway, so just ask. Look, both.
You were talking about Chidima, and obviously there's a ton of characters in this book for anybody that's reading along. I was always eager to get back to her. I will say. There you go.
Excellent.
Yeah, I felt like there's
producer,
more.
So
yeah, she was my favorite character as well, and I think to tease without spoiling, I think her arc in the book is my favorite as well. Like not only is she a fan favorite early on, but she is satisfying throughout, which is awesome.
Yeah,
it's always cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed her. Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh yes, I agree.
See in my head. Yeah, very good actress, and that's who I saw in my head the whole time.
Is she in Black Panther?
Maybe. I'm not a Marvel guy.
I'm trying to picture.
That's who
Is she
I've got
English?
in my head.
Yeah.
I know that I'm sure somebody in the audience is screaming at us right now. It's like, just fucking Google it. So I will.
We don't know comics. Sorry.
Oh yeah, she's the girl. Oh, she's in. Yeah, she's in. I'm sure she's in Black Panther. She's like the real badass sort of warrior,
Okay.
the shaved head. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Let me see.
I
Yeah,
think so. I don't.
is-
I think so. She's tall, very slim.
Oh yeah, she plays Nakia.
Okay.
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I like Nakia just fine in Black Panther. I prefer Okoye. I got more. Okay, so I think Mike, if you're talking about the badass warrior, I believe that would be Okoye.
Oh right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one in. Yeah.
that
She's
was-
in
yeah.
Infinity War as well.
Huh?
She's in Infinity War as well,
Yes.
and she does. Yeah.
Is that the actress that was also in The Walking Dead?
Do not know.
No, I'm terrible with actors in general.
Michonne, that actress, is in Black Panther. I know that.
Okay,
And I think she
that's
is
what I'm
one of the
thinking of.
warriors. Yeah. Well, she could make a good Shadima too.
Yeah, Denai Guerrera, and I'm sorry, I know I'm just destroying her last name. I feel so bad. But yeah, I could see her as I could see her more as Shadima, to be honest. Like personality wise.
She could pull it off for sure.
Mm-hmm. So other characters that we should probably talk about because they are rather central. We only got to really touch a little on Neil. Damn it, Neil. Fuck. I'm gonna do this the whole time. But one of the things that I thought was really cool is that he's a war criminal. He used to, and he's gotten along in age a bit, sounds, and he basically just spends his time fixing clocks and watches now. Not really much for purpose, but he's not exactly like thrilled to see Kelsey when she shows up to recruit him. And it seems like there might have been a mission that went sideways at one point, and she, he kind of alludes to her pecking like a blind chicken in the dirt, and I'm like, has stuff gone wrong before? Is that where that's coming from? So, but actually, interestingly enough, like sometimes, like, okay, this is a little off topic, but in chicken flocks, if there is a blind chicken, most of the time the other chickens will kind of like rally around them and also like defend them if say another chicken is attacking them, which it's like, if Kelsey is the blind chicken, then she really doesn't have a choice in saying, like, doesn't have a choice in the whole team aspect. They're probably like, they're gonna rally around her because they are paying her. So I know it's a weird thought.
But you're right. It does seem like there's like bad blood there a little bit, which is fun in a way because it's playing with a lot of the tropes of the heist movie. Right, like we start out in medias res, right? Like we're right in the thick of a job pre-existing with a different crew, and then we get to see, moving forward, but moving back in the process. We see how she kind of gathers the groups, and it's always a different team, and it's that fun setup where she's going from person to person and has to approach them each in their own particular way.
Yeah.
Just kind of show how she's good at managing people as well and getting the right tool for the right job.
She has an interesting set of people skills.
Mm-hmm.
Lorna probably hate this, but if they ever like adapted this into a movie, I totally see the begins of chapter 2, chapter 1, Kelsey Beth just traveling around. I can totally see it as like a montage of her just traveling around, recruiting the various people and just cutting it into like with some like cheesy song playing over it. I know Lorna'd hate that, but I can just
just like destroy all of that character development right out the window.
Yeah.
Also, with Neil fixing clocks and watches, I am seeing so far there's a little bit of a theme with time because we had the countdown at the beginning of with Virgil Meadowlark having that stroke on air, right? We had the countdown to the newscast, and then right after that, at the beginning of the Hayden's Court job, there's a clock in the waiting area before Kelsey Beth is let in to speak with Holland, and it's like Kelsey Beth and all of her acquaintances are rather all people that are just kind of like lost to time themselves. Like they don't really fit in with everyone else. And they just kind of like feel like they operate outside of that completely, like ghosts. And, I mean, the more we get to know some of them, that definitely is a vibe, like with Yuri, man, I just feel so bad for him. He's like, so he was our safecracker of the group, I believe. And I believe Raleigh is the pickpocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and I mean, Yuri's one of the recruits. And when she goes to meet him, he's just living in this, little area in Montana, mattress on the floor, and it's surrounded by mouse traps, and his dog just died. And it's like, he's the epitome of the country song gone wrong.
Right.
So
it's hard to put that to a catchy tune in the montage.
Yeah. And it's like, he's legitimately lonely. And he does spend some time like asking her, it's like, what are you doing after this? Like, he's aware of the fact that he exists as like this just shade.
I totally got like Unabomber vibes. Remember that guy from like the 70s? Like, I just some guy living like a hermit's lifestyle, but who's a little bit crazy. It's just.
It would have been an interesting one to recruit. You're gonna go take down this cult. His that was depressing. Mouse traps. I mean, you would think that kind of work, you'd get a better setup than that.
Well, his dog died. His dog was controlling the mices. You
kind of wonder where the money's going, because even after he says as well, when the job's done, I'm not going to the bar. I'm just coming straight home. That's it. And you think, well, he's living in this like rural, like ramshackle location, and he's making good money, but you wonder where's the money going? It doesn't like sound like the kind of guy who's got a bank account. So, is it just under his mattress, or?
I think it's inside
the backyard.
Graveyard rats. They took it. Keep taking it.
He's the guy as well. Listen, he says he doesn't believe in the Bitcoin. He wants to be paid. He says he wants to be paid in cash, not Bitcoin.
I mean, hey, whatever floats your boat, dude. You could probably pay him in scotch and weed, and it'd be fine. So, although I don't know if we're going to see much more of Yuri, since we end up having to. He ends up getting arrested, and we have to replace him with Green, who we'll get to see him make a comeback, which is nice. So, and we also have Raleigh, who that's our pickpocket, the aforementioned one, and I've been trying to think who I would cast for her. So she is a guitarist with this band, and Kelsey goes and recruits her when they're playing in Tennessee. And sounds like, obviously, it's got some bad blood there. She owes Kelsey Beth some money and doesn't have it. So Kelsey Beth's going to make her work it off, but just not washing dishes in the back. And it's weird because it's like, I feel like when I'm reading about the curly black hair just like coming out from under the hat, I'm just like, it's a female Slash. I have no reference points for music, I know.
You haven't finished the book yet, right, Sam?
No.
Okay, yeah. Raleigh's interesting things ahead with her.
Oh my god. This is going to be like such an adventure. I was thinking, as far as actresses, like a Michelle Rodriguez attitude, and like, probably just kind of like also a little bit of Zoe Saldana and Rosario Dawson. Probably a little bit more Zoe Saldana.
Michelle Rodriguez is a little too. I mean, Raleigh is tough, but I don't know. I don't think she can pull off vulnerable Michelle Rodriguez in the same way. I don't know. Again, I've read the whole book, so I don't know. I don't see Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I'm vetoing your casting choice. Sam. I'm sorry.
It was like 1 out of 3. Are you gonna vote? Are you gonna veto all of them?
Rosario Dawson, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. She's a good actress. Maybe.
Yeah. I honestly figured Raleigh was gonna be the bass player because they're always the fucking weirdos. So I was like, okay, fuck me, never mind. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie. It's like, well, we already know Kelsey Beth swings both ways. They've been fucking.
Absolutely.
Dan, you've read ahead. You can just blink once for yes, twice for no.
I'm not going to give that away. All the spicy material.
Fine. God.
I finished a while ago, but yeah, Raleigh is definitely one that you get a lot more content from.
That's cool. I am enjoying her as character for sure. Even like also the fact that it's like she's just like hungover and just like guzzling all the coffee during the meeting. I can relate. I've been there. So that does kind of round everybody out. So I guess we should probably talk about why they're even needed. We didn't even get to that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yeah. So Governor Sheehan gave just referred this megachurch pastor Maxwell Kant to
be careful how you say that.
Kant. I figured it was after the philosopher Kant. Kant. There's only one way to say it. So anyhow, yeah. So Governor Sheehan refers him to Kelsey Beth and quite literally asks her to get a MacGuffin, which I thought was fucking brilliant because, like, I can just imagine, Lauren's like, those fucking assholes are just going to call it a MacGuffin. I'm going to get to it first. I'll show them. So I actually don't, it's nice because it's like right now where I am, it's like completely vague. And I know as compared to, say, like, evidence of something bigger, I suppose, like with the golden plates, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I only know that vaguely in passing. But
I had this image of Joel Osteen just hiring her for a hit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of something funny about that. Yes. At this point, I am very curious to see what you think with the reveals.
I know my casting's way off, but it's, because his kids actually went to go get the MacGuffin first. And, fuck, who knows if they're still alive. He's like, yeah, maybe send my kids back if you happen to see them, but I want the object. Get me the object,
Well,
yeah.
And ostensibly, it's the kids he's asking about, right, for the job. It's not the MacGuffin itself, at least on the surface.
Oh. See, I got the impression that he was just like, yeah, send them back too. I guess it's fine, because it's like, I don't know. I just had this idea of like Vince McMahon asking.
That is great.
See them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Shane and Stephanie have gone missing trying to get this magical MacGuffin. I guess send them back if you see them, because it's like, that's very McMahon-esque.
Stephanie first, Shane second.
That's true.
If you can only save one.
I know, right? Like, we're definitely saving Stephanie.
Yeah, Shane will just jump off something big and take out the danger.
He'll coast to coast his way into. Never mind.
One thing, I've actually stopped reading the book now, so I'm just going to read it as we go. I've read up to a certain point, but now because we're doing this, it's just easier. I might as well just go, read it each week now. But from the Maxwell mentioning his kids, without spoiling anything, he mentions he thinks they haven't shown any interest in trying to track it down, and they've just got off basically and decided to have a bit of a go party and whatever it is. But as the book moves forward, without spoiling anything, I'm thinking maybe they did go Just, I can't really say any more than that. Basically, things that happen further forward in the book. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, maybe they did go to Perry early on. With how things sort of transpire with certain people. You know, I'm trying not to give away too much.
I think it's fair to say where you're at in the book, there's no real way to predict what's coming. No. You could try, and that'd be interesting, but there's a lot to it.
Right.
By the way, Maxwell, I've totally got Maxwell as a older version of the guy from Manhunter. The killer in Manhunter. You know that
Brian Cox?
No, the actual, not Hannibal Lecter, you know, the other guy, the tall. But
yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I know the actor, Monster.
The way they describe, obviously I don't know how old he is, but the way they describe him, you know, I mean, if he's well over 6.5 feet tall, you're talking like 6'8", you know, and a very, very slim build. I immediately thought of that guy from Manhunter when they described him.
Everybody in this book is so fucking tall. I don't know. I feel like Yuri's also very tall. Mike, was it Dollarhide in Manhunter?
Yeah. Francis Dollarhide, yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. I am just double checking real quick. Why is this? Oh, Tom Noonan?
Yeah.
I could see.
Is he still alive though?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see. Is he the right height?
He's about 6'6" in real life, I think. Yeah.
We always fix it in post.
I know, right?
I mean, you're going to be struggling to get an actual working actor who's over 6'5" anyway. Hollywood actors are notoriously smaller than what they say they are.
I mean, true.
I'm not just talking Tom Cruise. I mean, a lot of them, the builders 6 feet. The exact. Well, yeah, it's like Vince McMahon with the WWE. You know, Bill, somebody is 6'8". In reality, 6'2".
Yeah, because I think I had that conversation with Chris. You know, with the Undertaker being like, he's actually slightly taller than the Undertaker.
Oh, guys, Chris would be a lot taller. I think the Undertaker's probably. He has shrunk though, probably over the years because
we should just cast this all with wrestlers, guys. The whole movie.
Lord
would love that.
So
The Miz is Virgil Meadowlark.
The Miz would be Fisher. Let's be fair.
There.
Becky Lynch is Kelsey, definitely.
Only the B tier wrestlers, though.
Oh yeah.
All right. We got a knot before we take
Jinder Mahal is Neil.
Okay, that would actually work though. Like, okay, fair enough.
I could definitely see Batista as the Russian guy.
Morozov?
Oh yeah,
I could definitely see Batista.
That's true. I was gonna say, I'd be like, no, we can't really. Rusev doesn't work, so Batista makes a better one. Who'd ever thought Batista would be the best actor out of WWE?
Yeah.
So
let's not say
things.
Yeah. So also in this section of the book, like, I know I could talk about wrestling all day long, but we actually, we get to see a lot of vulnerability from Kelsey Beth when we see her go to visit her father who has Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So, and she mentions, not having a mom, like there was no mother. It was just her and her dad the whole time. So I'm wondering, it's sort of like, sounds like they would bounce from place to place. And yeah, probably her father maybe taught her a lot of the ropes of some of the criminal life. Although Kelsey Beth technically isn't a criminal. She's just she just accomplishes impossible things for a price. That's a nice way of saying it.
Mm-hmm. Criminally.
Yeah, it's just outside the bounds of legality. So yeah, that was man. Also, like pizza with no like because her dad's like, okay, pizza but no toppings, and I'm like, that's definitely a sign of dementia. Like, why are you not? And I know I say this as the person who puts pineapple on pizza, but still. Look,
I don't mind pineapple on pizza. I just don't see the point. I don't know.
it's it's the right combination. You know, chicken, pineapple, jalapeno.
Jalapeno, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, you know, we get to see Green make that comeback, and Green is actually a little bit more in, you know, demand, you know, kind of wants to be known as part of the team. He doesn't want to just be like, you know, just a singular guy on his own. And he does, you know, and he does tell this really cool story about one of a developmentally disabled kid in the neighborhood that he grew up in, who had taken a liking to his cousin, and his cousin would just, I guess, you know, make him do whatever, right? And one day they're just dropping bricks off the overpass. Cops come, his cousin leaves, but Montgomery, slow-mo, is basically left holding a red brick in his hand, and Green does not want to be the one holding the red brick. You know, don't leave him holding the bag, basically. So, did anybody get the impression that the cousin was Green?
Now you've mentioned it, I didn't at the time, no, but you could be onto something. You could be onto something there.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much on that one, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be one of those. This is gonna be one of those things where it's like I can feel like Dan's in like internal monologue being like, "That's not right at all." This whole for the next like 4 weeks.
I'm trying hard not to give anything away. I'm not used to the book podcasts where I'm like, "Oh, don't say something stupid and ruin it." I think I ruined Blue Eel for you, didn't I, Sam?
I don't think so. I don't.
Or maybe that was somebody else because I was talking about it and I gave away a twist and felt really bad about it. So maybe it wasn't you, at least.
No, I don't think you ruined it. I mean, that was a fun book. I mean, it was kind of depressing, but you know, it was depressing in like a fun way. Like you had a little adventure with the depression. Oh, hi. I'm sorry. My cat Lucy is here, so she is demanding pets.
That's okay.
Yeah, so let me see. Has anybody thought about casting choices for Green?
I don't really. Have they described his like physicality that much? I don't really remember visualizing him in any particular way, really, compared to some of the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're saying a lot. Everyone's taught. Did they describe Green as being particularly tall, or?
I mean, I was thinking maybe Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out.
Oh yeah,
but
I'm a fan of him.
That'd be good.
I think he's about the right age. So I'm picturing Green. I've always pictured Green as about 27, 28.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because, well, actually, maybe a bit older because she mentions she grew up in the same neighborhood as Green, but she said she would have moved out long after he was even in diapers.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, yeah, maybe about Laura mentions in the book she had a post of Erasure on a bedroom wall as a kid. Now they were around in the mid to late 80s. So I'm guessing. So yes, yeah. So yeah. So I'm guessing Kelsey is about my age, maybe a little bit older. So I think Green's probably about 30.
Okay.
So Daniel Kaluuya probably be bang on the money in terms of age, and I see Green as being like just pretty much Mr. Average in terms of height and weight. Just a sort of like 5'11", 12 stone guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him as this hulking giant. Like.
Yeah, I mean, he's just sort of like almost an everyman, and almost kind of makes me think it's like the audience stand-in, except if the audience had like an opioid addiction, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jeff, have you seen any big changes from when you were reading it as it was being written?
No, not up to this point.
Okay.
So I read it a few years ago. After it had been written, and what I'm doing now is kind of reading it along with you guys to get a refresher. And I have the same struggle, right? Not calling out anything different from ahead, but yeah, no significant changes that I've spotted.
Okay. Well, actually, like right about here is kind of close to the end of the section, and we after Kelsey Beth goes and recruits Green, then we actually get along to the next big section, the Perihelion job, and that first one is where they're all meeting at the not all meeting, excuse me, where Kelsey Beth is picked up at the airport by one of the Perihelions, Ren.
By Ren, yeah.
Yeah. Ren just strikes me as, not like Jonah Hill, but kind of reminiscent of Jonah Hill. But I don't know why. But just like, okay, like if Jonah Hill had to play straight man and play it like really dry, that's what I'm getting out of Ren. So he goes and picks up Kelsey Beth, who's under the name Mona Bennett. Just call me Moan. And she then there's another gal that's already in the car, Jamie, who it's like, she's also somebody who's like, she's also a character out of time. She would have been so at home in the mid-90s. She's like a Jerry Springer guest, you just smashed them all together.
I don't know if I got that trashy vibe from her, but maybe.
She definitely comes across as a bit, not the sharpest knife in the drawer to me. She's kind of, she does feel she's got like that sort of clueless feel to her. Almost like an Alicia Silverstone thing to her. I don't know where she's just. I'm not entirely sure why she's even along for the ride at this point. She doesn't seem like the sort of person who really needs to be there. And obviously, as the book progresses, but yeah, I really like it as a character. I think she's probably my, second favorite character so far.
I mean, I think, it seems like she's there. So she's originally from Texas, but she comes to Perihelion via Hobbs, New Mexico. And I think it's also implied that she was in Florida at one point. So the girl also tends to like skip. It's not skip town, but she relocates quite often. And it seems like she tends to relocate because she keeps fucking men that have like girlfriends or wives. And I'm like, are you running from them? Or are you just running to Perihelion because like there are no wives and girlfriends and you can just get your fuck on there without having to worry about it?
She does say that.
The people they prey on.
Huh?
The cult, right? Because they're recruiting. So it makes you wonder, right? What's the kind of people that they're preying on? What's their target audience?
She's an easy mark, kind of looking for happiness and community that she hasn't found.
I'm kind of wondering how she passed. This is like 34 questions. So
yeah, I was wondering that too.
Because obviously you have to score, and I'm wondering like the answers are probably pretty much very random. They're very, very random questions, and it's not a quiz, so there's no wrong answer. It's one of them. So you wonder how she managed to blind luck, I'm assuming, got her through the process, I'm guessing, for it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't bother looking into what exactly would make somebody cult material, but, Dan, the looking for happiness, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, community. It's always weird, and I don't know if, I'm sure Lauren did some research on cults, but, you look at certain cults, even some, that celebrities have been involved in, and it's like, man, how did you fall for that? But there are some very intelligent people that somehow fell in, which is fascinating. I don't know, and this would be a question for Lauren in the chat, if you had like a specific cult and their methods that you sort of put into this, or if you just, kind of made it your own.
I mean, I get definitely Scientology vibes for sure. It's like if Scientology had like took over a town. I mean, that wasn't Los Angeles, but as far as like, I don't know if I really have any casting choices. Not many for Jamie, but I guess this kind of relates back to her feeling like she belongs in the mid-90s, because I was thinking of Jamie Beth Gertz from Twister, but like a blonde version of her. And she's the one that plays Bill Paxton's like fiance. The one that like does not want to be chasing fucking tornadoes. Like even the haircut. That's the haircut I got too.
I can see that.
Yep. Okay, so the Parahelions are not based on Scientology because Lauren can't afford lawyers. So
he had John Landis basically in Blue Eel, so
that I loved that. That was so funny. Like
get Tom Cruise maybe shows up in this. You don't know.
As soon as Marius Spiegler like hit the page, I was like, oh, that's the stand-in for John Landis. I was like, yep.
You don't know. You're just entering Parahelion. It might just be Cruise jumping up and down on a couch as they.
My God, dude, fucking Tom Cruise. Like, it's just. I'm sorry, cat on the lap again.
That's okay.
He has so many teeth. Like, he had more teeth than the AI nightmares we get now with all of their teeth. Like, he's the predecessor for that. Okay.
So on the recruiting front, this is, I think, notably the first fly in the ointment, right, for the job. Yuri didn't pan out, but now also, I think it was Chidima says that there's a problem matching the application for Green to the one that they had for Yuri.
Yeah, because there were pictures on social media, and it's like she's right in I'm guessing that she ends up being right in making the assumption that they probably checked that, but
Yeah. So I like it because it's a subtle into the first job, right? That one didn't go south until here already things are not to plan.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I wonder if how many of, like, is Neil just over this? Because he's like, man, the last job I worked with you went south. This one's going south. Because he doesn't seem to really have much of, like, a tolerance for bullshit.
Yeah. Do you have any guesses at this point, like, what you might see going forward in the novel? That might be fun since you guys are still behind.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, I'm 210 pages in. So I can't really say.
Oh, okay, you're deeper then.
Yeah.
Sam, do you have any
I don't
thoughts
know.
on where it might go?
It's funny because like I'm moderating these discussions and I'm the farthest behind. Like I'm still.
That's a good thing though.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's just like I'm gonna look back on these. Like I should try and like cobble together all the clips. Like this is what's gonna happen, and they'll be like, what really happened? Like just like a fucking bunch of super close to that shit. Given that it's something okay, so if it's something terrifying and impossible, I don't know. I hope there's like fucking eyeballs involved. Not teeth. Teeth is too much. I don't want to be scared that badly.
Fulci cult.
I will say the thing they're searching for totally took me back. I did not see that coming. That just totally threw me. You'll know it when you see it, and when it's revealed, I'm like, yeah, I did not see that coming.
It's a very odd riddle. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Okay, Lucy, I am so sorry. I have to put you down, miss. Here you go.
Yeah, you'll just as a teaser, you'll kind of get into the orientation process, I believe, is sort of right where we're ending here. So it'll get interesting. You'll learn some new stuff soon.
Yeah. Cool. Well, before we wrap up, does anybody have any like closing thoughts about any of the sections that we covered this week?
At this point, I was really eager to just keep reading. This was, God, probably around New Year's or so at this point. So I was like really busy, but I didn't want to put the book down because I wanted to see what this cult was all about. So I was definitely hammering out the pages pretty fast at this point. And again, I put the book over, but it's going to be hard for you to stop at just X amount of pages at this point. I could see you probably reading further ahead now.
Well, I very may well. We will see.
I wish there were more genre mashups like this. Like the whole concept of smashing a horror with heist, just at the top level, I think is fantastic. Like it just works awesome. You know,
Yes.
like to your point, you don't want to put it down because it reads like a heist book. It's fast, it's aggressive, but then weaves its way into this whole mystery, which is the tonal shift we're about to get into, right?
Yeah.
Where we start to see explore this cult. I don't know. I love it structurally. It's just fun.
Yeah, and like right now, I know it's kind of an odd point to stop at, but you know, again, like 50 to 60 pages a week. But it's like right now, after reading that last section, the first part of the Perihelion job, that momentum is starting to build again, you know? So it's like kind of pushes you forward, and yeah, you wouldn't want to stop. So it's kind of like, you know, it's like with Hayden's Court, it was just like it was like a constantly moving thing. And I feel like we're about to hit that again. We're about to hit another one of those, but we needed this time to kind of like come down, give it, and breathe. You know, it's like now
There's
the next roller coaster.
Yeah, there's stuff in the Hayden's Court portion that you may not think is important, but it comes back even towards the very end of the book. It's very cool.
Yeah.
I will say as well, it you know, moving from, you know, into the next part where we get to Perihelion, it, you know, it really does. For the first part, you know, it's not all action, it's not all, you know, out and out, you know, insanity, but it really Lawrence does a great job of really describing the town. You get a real sense of like you can really picture it, you know, and it gives off a great sort of I can just for me it would make a great movie, you know. You know, the way the whole thing comes together. And I mean, I did message him because I was getting, without going to spoilers again, but I asked him whether he'd ever whether any influence from the Prisoner TV show from the 60s with Patrick McGowan, and he said no, it's more influence from Quatermass and the Pit from the 70s. But if anybody's seen The Prisoner, and it's got that feel of a cut off community and somebody out of place. You know what I mean? It's if you've never seen The Prisoner, by the way, anybody out there, watch The Prisoner TV show from the 60s. It's incredible.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I can kind of see that vibe for sure.
We've been doing a lot of fan casting, but you know what? We're going to have to, like, at some point talk about directors for this. So that'll be interesting. I don't know if we're really at the point where we could do that yet, but maybe not at week 2, maybe week 3 or 4. Because I'm thinking like heist jobs. I'm like,
I think Ty West, because he can emulate, right? He's so good at emulating time periods. I feel like he would be able to emulate the heist. Like he would take Ocean's 11 and just break it down to its component parts and then tack on everything that needs to be tacked on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, and he's also tackled cults before, so that would in The Sacrament. So
yeah, Sacrament's a great movie.
Good point. I think I'm on the fence still. That was literally just a thought that I had now. It's like, oh, we didn't talk about a director for this. Unless Lauren's going to direct it himself.
That could be
Lauren.
interesting.
Quick, Lauren, write and direct this.
I could see Lorne being an absolute tyrant on set.
I mean, he's a real slave master on the podcast, so, you know.
He just gets a Lindsay Lohan type personality that he's got to deal with. That would be very entertaining.
What would his cameo be?
Oh, he's got to have the Hitchcock
Right.
cameo. I have a few things in my head, but it's later in the book. But
That'll be fun.
Well,
maybe-
he could be Virgil Mendelark. It's not more than a cameo,
That'd be good.
but you know.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, he might need to be a little bit older, so it's like just slap some old man face makeup on there, just sag those jowls out a bit.
There you go.
I know this is gonna be a, like fucking great when we're once we're like really close to finishing the book. We'll have an idea of like how all the moving pieces are fitting together. Like, well, I mean, discussion wise, like you guys are already there.
Practice
Well,
your
we'll
your seizures, Lauren.
It's
What's
just
the
gonna be
next,
like oh yeah. The next section is going to be, I believe it is up to, it's 121, and that is going to go up to, I believe, 189. I'm just going to double check that, though, because I had this written down somewhere. I'm so prepared. So if anybody out there is following along with us and wants to come on to actually discuss it in person, just DM either me or Lauren. And yeah, week 3, which will be next week on the 19th, is going to be pages 121 to 189. I think it might be the longest of the sections that we're doing.
There's a lot. Yeah, I was going to say, I was just glancing at my notes that'll be a very meaty show. If anybody catches up and wants to hop on, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You guys have anything that y'all would like to plug before we wrap up?
Flesh Wound Features here on YouTube, and keep an eye on XPW for you wrestling fans. There's some interesting things in development.
Ooh. Very, very cool.
Real Fifth Beetle on YouTube. Live stream every week. Live streaming tonight, as a matter of fact, at 6:30 Eastern Standard, 11:30 UK time.
Very nice.
No pluggables for me. Not yet.
Jeff's like, no. Well, Visited by Voices 1. Yes, keep showing up to the Readers Roundtable discussions, because these are a blast right now. And, if you really want to follow me, you can. I'm at Sheebie-Jeebies, and just replace the double E's with 3's, because I'm wheat like that. But yeah. Thank you again, guys, for joining us on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. And thank you to everybody out there who popped on in and decided to say, fuck the Super Bowl pre-show coverage, hashtag fuck sports ball. Like I barely realized Super Bowl was happening this weekend.
The ads aren't even funny anymore, so it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, if Moloch isn't going to get summoned during the halftime show, I'm not interested. What's the point in watching if not? But I really hope I really hope we do get one of those cool halftime shows again, because I want to see people dissect it and like point out all the satanic imagery. That's like one of the only things I look forward to at the Super Bowl. Commercials are I can find those later.
Isn't it Rihanna, I believe? I don't know. She's very heavy on the Satan. But maybe.
Yeah, it's possible. Like Beyonce always had the best satanic halftime shows. Rihanna, I don't know. It's up in the air. So I don't know. I'm not a football fan. We know this if you've listened to anything that went on during this discussion. Anyway. Any last words? I know it sounds really ominous. We want to do fuck sports ball on 3?
Absolutely.
1, 2, 3. Fuck
Fuck
sports ball.
sports ball.
Luc Besson made it work. And Hollywood
Yeah, I love
said,
that.
we can do it.
You okay, buddy?
Yeah.
You okay?
Oh,
Who said witchcraft doesn't work?
I'll be back in a moment.
That's concerning.
That was a Blair Witch ending right there.